Good morning, this is Grassroots Rising, and I'm Jimmy Skogard. Today I want to talk about being called out. I guess I got to be the man yesterday. I was the man. I went to a small bar in Riverton, Wyoming called the Cedar Bar. Nice place. I enjoyed the atmosphere. It was, like a regular watering hole in Wyoming. Go in and pull up a stool at the bar. And I chose to sit down beside two Native American women and start a conversation about politics. And I found out what being the man is, because I was soon inundated with ideas that I had control over, the entire system of repression that the Native population here in Wyoming is experiencing. And it sounded real, and it sounded painful. And no matter what I said, I was still the man. So I decided that it wasn't time to share my opinions about how I felt, although I did answer some questions like, have you ever experienced want as a child? And, I shared the story that my family wasn't all that wealthy, and during the Jimmy Carter era, we got free peanut butter and big chunks of American cheese from the trucks that showed up in our communities, which I'm sure that they might also have in partaken if they had that opportunity. But we didn't go into that much, and it didn't really seem to matter, because it always came back to, well, you're white, you're privileged, and we're not. And I listened to stories about drug abuse. I listened to stories about children without shelter. I listened to stories about failing education systems, and I listened. I wanted to share, my thoughts were, why do you continuously rent a property? Rent is not within your control, and yet you support paying rent and putting homeless families up in hotels for 7 days and running out of money and running out of funds. And I wanted to ask those questions, but I didn't. I just listened, and the conversation just revolved around, somebody is supposed to help me. Somebody is supposed to step forward and pick up my burden. And I wanted to say, that's not the Wyoming way. You support yourself. You carry your own burden. Even in the face of racism and bigotry, your burden is your own burden. I mean, we in government should be looking to level the playing field and eliminate those things from society, but we know they exist. So to deny that and to try to bury that, or to try to cover it up with money, is not going to work in any society. In any society, you need to stand on your own 2 feet, no matter what the obstacles are, because you can overcome. It has been shown over and over again that when there is a will, there is a way. So I'd like to share my final thoughts on the Cedar Bar. It was a little frustrating, I admit. And yes, I could have taken the easy conversation. There were several working class white folks in the bar that would have been happy to share their opinions about wanting to be left alone, and the government's job is to stay out of our business. Or that's my assumption of what the conversation would have been. But I chose the harder path that night and enjoyed the experience, because there are issues like this still in Wyoming, and these issues are issues we must address. So with that in mind, I'm going to leave off here today. I thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.